Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the second half of The Walking Dead Season 8. In this one first, we're going to take a look at a couple new pictures we've got for the second half, and then we'll go into kind of the results, or your guys' responses for the death predictions, which characters we think are going to be killed off in the second half, and which ones should. And spoiler warning as usual if you're not caught up for The Walking Dead. So we'll take a look at a couple of these new pictures here from TV Line. These are TV Line exclusive pictures. Link will be in the description if you guys want to check them out. So this first one here is kind of funny. You've got Rick and Michonne who are trying to use like basic fire extinguishers to put out like this, this like raging fire. Of course, after the mid-season finale and the Savior is absolutely decimated. Alexandria. I'm trying to think of where this structure in Alexandria is. I'm thinking it might be the one, if you guys remember, there was a scene where you had Reg and you had Noah, which, geez, man, was that back in season 5? You know, that's going, it's like it's not that far back, but it's far enough back. You remember when they kind of like discussed with each other, they kind of met and they talked for a quick minute. They're both dead now, so I guess it doesn't matter. But, you know, it's just going to be, so, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's, how are you going to put out that kind of fire? Are you going to be able to do it with something like fire extinguishers? I mean, I guess it makes sense that you would try to, but the war still rages on, and yeah, Alexandria is just absolutely in tatters. So we're going to see how this goes. Of course, you got the situation with Carl as well too, and they've got to be worried about, you know, where are the Saviors right now? Have the Saviors gone back to the sanctuary? Have they went to attack a different community? Like, just what is going on? What is happening? Are they looking for Rick and the others? Are they kind of, you know, searching through the forest and what have you around to see if they abandoned ship, or just, you know, because they didn't get everybody. You know, most of the prominent members of Alexandria, the Saviors attacked, but they didn't really get anybody. Like, they didn't get anyone notable. It's not like they captured Rick. It's not like they captured Michonne. You know, they didn't really do too much. They attacked Alexandria. They destroyed it as far as, you know, their home and their environment, which is, you know, that's something for sure. But they didn't capture any of our, you know, our prominent survivors like Rick and Michonne and the others. Then we have this one, which is of Carl here, who's, again, writing. We've got a couple of these kind of pictures here for the second half, so I'm thinking these are probably from episode 9, but they just seem to be a bit strange to me because, you know, I'm just not sure in terms of time placement where this would go, like where this would be at. You know, because we did see some stuff with him kind of writing that kind of thing. So is it before, you know, the attack on Alex? It would have to be if the building is in good shape and everything, right? You know, because it wouldn't be, I don't think it'd be afterwards. So it must be some kind of flashback sequence or something when Carl already knew he was going to die, so it gave him a chance to write some notes to people and that. Maybe they'll show a little bit more of that in this mid-season premiere. Some people have even come up with a theory. This one isn't too bad, but I personally don't like it, but I'll share it with you guys. It's that maybe what we saw in the mid-season finale is a fake-out, and Carl is kind of seeing his life flashing before his eyes or something like this, so the part of it. So I've heard that theory before. I don't like it at all. Very simply, death prediction stands. I think Carl is just going to die. I don't think there's anything more to it than that, and I think this is a flashback sequence, but who knows? I mean, you know, we'll have to see the episode and see how it goes, but yeah, at this point, you know, Chandler Riggs is working on different projects. He's had, you know, movies and things like this, so I think he's doing some music and things like that too, so yeah, I wouldn't, I think this is going to be his last episode, episode 9. I don't think this is some kind of dumpster fake-out situation. If it was, I think everybody would just be so pissed off. That would be so bad. So I don't think that's what they're going for. But, you know, we'll have to see what kind of things he leaves for people. Specifically, I want to say, of course, Rick and the immediate family, and then Enid as well, too, because, you know, she's off on that mission with Aaron to the ocean side currently. And so for the character death predictions, which characters we think are going to be getting killed off in the second half. If you guys missed it, I did my death predictions for this half. I do it for every season, every half. You know, which characters are going to be killed off. Because you know they're going to kill somebody off. Every half there's going to be some big character deaths. That's the show. That's what they do. So it's, you know, it's fun as always to try to predict who we think it's going to be, right? It's always good stuff. So definitely check out the death predictions video if you guys haven't seen it yet. And did go ahead and get your responses. So the ones that people want to be killed off the most, it looks to me, or at least the ones that people think. So the most surprising one to me is that it sounds like a lot of people, number one, I'd have to put it right now, a lot of people want to see Tara be killed off in this second half. So we might see that. I mean, as we talk it through in the death predictions and everything, and I get to see your guys' responses, it does make a lot of sense. She's been around the series for a long time. She's had her own solo episode, but it didn't go well. You guys remember from season last year, season 7. A lot of people hated it so much with her and Heath. So she is kind of a tether to the ocean side. But again, we're seeing Aaron go there now, so it's not like she was sent there and she went there on her own. She's back with the others. So a lot of people want to see Tara be killed off. That's the one that I saw most comment in the death predictions video as like the number one character to be killed off and who should be. So that's your guys' response, not necessarily mine 100%, but I see where you guys are coming from for sure. And I feel like if they killed Tara off in this back half, I'd be like, okay, whatever. Because again, like a lot of what you guys said too was most of you were in agreement with me, which is that when it comes to this second half, because you're killing Carl off this half season, you don't really, or at least this season in the middle, you don't really need to have that many, huge A-list character deaths as we get close to the end here. Maybe a couple will do, and the rest should be red shirts. The rest should be like just, unnamed characters or smaller characters, that kind of deal. Because you don't need to kill off, that much. BHowardify said, my prediction is a multitude of red shirts will die. Rest in peace, Neil. You were so important, right? So that's kind of what they did the first half too, right? You have a couple, pretty big deaths. You have the battle raging on, and you get a sense that it is a war, and you do see the battle, and you have Neils and characters like that, but it's like, it doesn't really do much, I mean, it's not a big death, right? But it is what it is. Then he says maybe one or two main characters who've barely gotten any useful screen time the past few seasons during a drawn-out stormtrooper gunfight. Rick will then, so then he gets into some predictions about how the end of the battle is gonna go, and then he says after the battle's over, everyone will sing "Kumbaya," living in harmony. So yeah, I mean, I agree. That's probably what we're gonna see. A couple character deaths, maybe you go like Tara. Some people still think Morgan, so that's one right there with you guys, just based on the things that he said in the show, and then also when he was on Talking Dead and they announced he was going to be the crossover, Melissa McBride and him sounded super sad. So some people, they still can't get past that. They're like, okay, I know they're doing this with fear and that kind of thing, and a lot of people online, like Forbes and online writers, things like this, think that it's going to be a sequel crossover, but there are still a good number of people that think no, it'll probably be a prequel crossover for Morgan, and he will actually be killed off at the end of the season. So that would be another big one if they did Morgan. Simon is one as well too. That a lot of people think like, yeah, that makes sense. You kill Simon off. Not a lot of people think that Dwight will be killed off, so that's one as well too. And not a lot of people think that Eugene will be either. So that's kind of the consensus right now that I got, which is not that many character deaths. Like we're not going to see like a Glenn be killed off or something like that. If they do a big one, it'd probably be Morgan. Otherwise, Tara, Simon, red shirts, and maybe some of Negan's lieutenants, things like that. Is probably what we're looking at. So nothing crazy. The crazy death for this season, I think, is the Carl death. That's the big one, and it could have been very shocking and surprising had it not been kind of leaked early, before the season even started. So online, but it was still a big one, and I'm sure for viewers who are not online like we are, for them it would have been a huge reveal when he revealed that he was bitten. So. Then we've got one from Daniel who says, Season 3 survivors were my favorite group. Was a small but deadly, brutal group. Best TV series, Carl was in that season too. So I wanted to include that comment from Dan because I had asked which group from which season is your favorite overall. So is your favorite group of our survivors Season 3, Season 5, like which was your favorite one to see? Some people might like Season 2 because you had like, Shane and Rick and Lori and some of the others, Andrea and all that. Dan's got Season 3. That was a great group, man, with Season 3. I mean, of course, that's before Negan, Dwight, Savers, all of them came in. But you had like your core, like most of your core except for Shane, and Lori is killed off in that season as well too. But you had like a lot of the other kind of great survivors, like Andrea was there, You had T-Dog, you had Carol, you had, a lot of the others still there as well, Beth and some of the others, Herschel, and that. So that was really cool. Personally, for me, I might have to go with like maybe like season 5 or season 6, because one thing, I guess you could count Morgan in season 3, but he wasn't like a mainstay all the way through. So it's interesting to kind of hear from you guys, like, what your favorite Walking Dead. That's an interesting question, is like, what is your Walking Dead group? Like, if you had to pick like a group of 7, let's say, survivors on the good guy side to represent Walking Dead, who would you go with? Which would be the ones that stick out to you the most throughout the whole series as the ones that are like, that's your group? It's interesting stuff. So he's got season 3. I'd probably go with like season 5. I feel like you definitely have to go when Glenn is still there. You can't go after that, I think, because Glenn, for me, has to be on that list, I think, for sure. Kenny says, I hate to say it, but with all these lawsuits, it's only a matter of time before The Walking Dead gets canceled. So there was another death prediction as well, too, in the video 2 days ago, where the person said death prediction, and then, it was like Walking Dead. So the series is going to die. So that was one, too. If you guys missed it this weekend, I did a video on that, which is that John Bernecker, who is a stuntman who unfortunately accidentally, tragically died in the filming of The Walking Dead Season 8 from a fall. His family is suing AMC due to it. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll have in the end screen videos for you here, and you can definitely watch it and check it out to hear all the details of that one. But it's true that it really does feel like kind of just a tremendous amount. I mean, you can definitely see why that one would come up because of what happened. But it's really crazy to see all these lawsuits just piling on The Walking Dead at once. Like, all these things just kind of coming up at once on it. You've got Frank Darabont, who's suing them like twice. He's got like 2 different lawsuits going. You got like a lot of the executive producers and stuff followed suit and did it as well. Even Robert Kirkman, creator, and a lot of the others. And now with him as well doing this too, it just feels like there's a lot of stuff going against Walking Dead right now, and Walking Dead is kind of in a rough spot or a rough patch in terms of what's happening. They're switching showrunners. There's just a lot of stuff going on with Walking Dead this year, I feel like, and we'll see. I mean, I don't think it'll get canceled just because of lawsuits, but certainly lawyer fees and all that. It's crazy, man. Like, once things get big enough, it's like they gotta hire like a legal team that's going to be super busy to defend them from all the stuff that's happening. Now, granted, in the case of the stuntman, that's you totally see that for sure, right? But just, when things get this big, it's like, better lawyer up, because it's going to be like, I guess it's just how it goes, right? It's crazy, man. Alex McMovie says, every goddamn season people say Tobin will die, but yet the guy is still living. And that's true. I've probably predicted Tobin's death like 5 times now. But he is still alive, and so is Scott. So I'm just thinking it's a matter of time. But then again, you do need to have some notable background characters as well, too, in the different communities. You can't kill off everybody. So that's the thing with Walking Dead. They do a lot of deaths, and for people who say it's predictable, it's like, I really don't think so. The person who said about the death predictions for the Walking Dead show itself was Saul Alaris. I added that because I just thought it was good. CG Central HT said, Maria Bello was cast this season and still hasn't appeared, and I doubt we will see Whispers this season, so who could she be playing? Some people think that she'll be one of the women at the Oceanside. Now that Natanya's dead, someone else is going to have to take leadership there. So I could see that. Definitely I could see that and see her kind of, go into battle with the rest of them. Maybe they want vengeance for what happened to their men. They see Simon. They're like, it was him. They take him down and kill him or something. So we're gonna have to see how that goes, whether or not she is. And that's another thing for the end of the season I'm really excited for. Are we going to see some kind of Easter egg or something for the Whispers, or not? Are they going to leave it to season 9? I hope we'll see something, but we'll have to see how it goes. Last one will be from Era Art, who says, Q&A Trev, do you have a reinterpretation of the Old Man Rick sequence? I ask because Carl is clearly in it, along with Michonne and older Judith. I'm curious to know whether you think anything could have happened to the latter since Carl is obviously going to be gone, so the sequence doesn't seem to make sense anymore. I'm kind of leaning towards something similar to how they showed the table scene in Season 7, Episode 1. Would love to hear your thoughts. So yeah, like a dream, like a wish type of situation. I mean, I just feel like right now that makes the most sense of anything. Unless you like the idea of Carl concussion theory and life flashing before his eyes theory, but I just feel like that is like, no way, man. You know, I just really am against. At this point, if they have Carl live, I'm against it anyway, because I feel like it was okay to do it with Glenn with the dumpster. It was a bit of a stretch, but if they do like something like this, where it's like shown that he's confirmed dead, then they confirm it on Talking Dead, and then they don't do it, it'd be like, nah, no. So I really don't think that's what they're doing. So it must be some kind of like Rick dream sequence or something like this that you know, that they're showing us at that time. Yeah, but of course, you know, Carl can't be there, so it doesn't work as a flash forward sequence that we thought it was. A lot of us thought it was going to be a flash forward sequence, and that's what we were seeing, because it just looks straight out of the pages of the comic book like something you would see from a later time. But you know, maybe it's, and there's one good thing about it. I thought Rick looked ridiculous in that flash forward, so hopefully they don't do that soon and turn him into an old man right away. Hopefully that's maybe you know, season 10 or something, when he starts looking a little bit, you know, a little bit worn down like that. But we'll have to see how that kind of works itself in. But for now, I think we should all think it's basically a dream sequence. And that'll be it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to thumb it up below. Leave a question below if you want to add a question for the next Q&A, maybe in a couple days. And that's all I got for this one for you guys. We'll see you again soon, though. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you in a couple.